Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to your How We Build. So basically, I'm going to conduct this meeting as if you were here in person. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the home, and I'm going to kind of go over some of your options and then some of just the features in here. So first things first is we're starting out in the living room. So just kind of what you can see, we've got the outlets all along the wall here. Over on that side. The switches, so one kind of learning curve that you'll have to kind of get used to when you move into this place is just finding out where all the switches are to. So like this right here, you have 4 switches on here. This will control some of the lights in here. It might control the light up in your foyer there. So it's just, it's a little bit of a game at first. It's just kind of getting familiar with what switches go to what. So across the way here on the entertainment wall, you've got your high and low outlet there. That's one of your options you paid for. And then you have your low voltage right there. So that's your RG6 Cat 6. So you'll have this in this room and in your master bedroom as well. One of your options, you had the recessed can lights. So one there, and then 2 on this side. Each room gets an air supply. So you have that right there. And then directly above me is your box for your ceiling fan. So that's all hooked up, ready to go. Moving over here slightly in the foyer, I just pointed out a little bit before, you get a light for a box for your chandelier light. And then you also have a supply register here as well. And again, sorry for the noise, they're working across the way. They have a generator going, so don't mind the humming. So stepping into the kitchen here, you got your pantry closet right here, so it'll have about 5 rows of shelving, so they'll kind of go up on there. You also have outlets in your backsplash, so you got an outlet there. This is a low voltage outlet for it's like a hard jack for a telephone. It's just required by code that we have to install them. You have more outlets there. You'll have cabinets along here. As you can see on the floor, they've come by and marked up, what cabinet goes where. Right here in the center where this black tube is dropping down, this is your gas line. So that, again, one of your upgraded options. So this is where your range is going. So we have range going, and then the microwave goes directly on top of that, and that where's that silver duct right there, that vents up and through the roof there. And then this is the power source for that. So right here in the center, this will be the range microwave combination. And then right to your right, this is where the refrigerator is. So this box right here, that's your water hookup for the fridge. And then this will be all drywalled. And then right over here behind me, this is your island. So you'll have your sink here, dishwasher on the right-hand side, and then you'll have a cabinet on the left-hand side. And then those outlets will be for the garbage disposal. And they just put an additional outlet there as well. Over here, this will be the switches for that room. So you'll have switches controlling different components. For example, you have right here these 2 blue boxes. That's for your pendant lights that go hang above the kitchen island. And then one of your upgraded options was you had the recessed kitchen lights. And then of course there's that air supply there as well. So moving along to the dining room area, again, you had the recessed lights up above, and then you had the air supply right there. And then over here, again, you get outlets all along the wall here. And then this switch box over here will control lights in here, and then it'll probably also control like the foyer light as well. So you have a couple different options for turning that on. I'm gonna jump back into the home a little bit and then I'll swing around to the master. But moving over here to bedroom 2, we have again air return right above head, and then you have your air supply further in there. We have your hookup for your ceiling fan box right there, and then we also have the smoke detector box right there. And then you get outlets all along the wall here, and then one of those will be a switched outlet. So when you walk into the room, you have the 2 switches here. The first one typically is your switched outlet. So one of the outlets will be flipped upside down, and then when you toggle that switch, and if you have like a lamp plugged into the switch outlet, that'll turn that on and off. And then the secondary switch will control the ceiling fan. And then this is the closet right here. And this will have like a top row of shelving that goes along there as well. And then just so you're aware, again, of what's behind the wall, that black, it's got the foam insulation around it. Those are the water lines for the garage sink, and then that's the drain vent line right there. So just, you know, you got to just be aware of what's behind the wall, so you at least know right next to that outlet in that stud bay, you have some water and plumbing lines. All right, so, oh, and then right before I leave this bedroom, one of your options, you have the high-low outlet. So you have an outlet down there and then an outlet up there. I assume if you're gonna mount the TV or anything like that. So stepping out here, going across the way to the den study, you get outlets all along the backdrop here. And then this room gets air supply right there, air return, and then you have your box for your ceiling fan. So these ones, because it's not an enclosed room, they don't do a smoke detector in this room, but outside of every bedroom they'll do a smoke carbon combination. So, and that's all hooked up with the smoke detector. So when one goes off, they all go off. So it's all one interconnected system. So then right above me, you've got the lights for the hallway. So one here and one over there by the big return. And then that gray box right there is the, that's the smoke carbon combo. And then there's the light right there. And then air supply right as you walk in the door. So next door, we have the bath too. So right here in the corner, that'll be where the vanity is. So that's the hot and cold water supply right there with the drain. And then right here in the corner, that's where the GFI outlet's gonna be. Right next door to that, that's where the toilet's going. And then we have the tub over here. And then everything is controlled by the 3 switches. So first switch controls the vanity lighting. So that white wire that's squiggling across there, they have that tacked up there so that they can get it nice and center on the vanity after they install it. So they'll put in a box later. The second switch controls the light above the shower. And then that third switch controls the exhaust fan. So moving on into your laundry room, right to my left, we have a little, closet, little coat closet there. And then right over here, straight ahead, you have your washer dryer hookup. So we always do washer on the left-hand side, dryer on the right-hand side. So these are your hot and cold taps. This middle section is where they'll put the drain. So for the drain for the actual washing machine, we'll just go right into there. We give you an outlet for that. You have the gas hookup, one of your options that you picked for that. And then we also supply just a standard box as well. And then this is your dryer vent, and then that goes up and through the ceiling right there. Okay, so right to my right, this is the AC closet. So they already got it kind of roughed in so that when it comes time to trim out, they'll just go ahead and stick the unit right inside there. And then this black tube right here, this is the gas hookup for that. Right on this side of the closet, you have 2 switches. So one switch will be to turn the light on and off in here. So that is right above here, that box, that'll be the light for that. And then the other switch is like a kill switch for the AC unit. So that allows somebody to cut off power without having to go into the garage at the breaker panel. Inside here, this is your low voltage panel. So these green and black wires, these are your RG6 and Cat6 wires. These run through the attic down into here, and then these are what are dispersed throughout the home to get you that Ethernet ports. And then this orange tube right here, they're typically blue, but this is a Smurf tube. I'll show you in the garage when I get to that point, but this basically runs down to the box, but it goes up through the raft, or excuse me, through the trusses, and then down to an access point where when they come to set up your Wi-Fi, that's where they'll snake that fiber optic line through. But that's the low voltage box, that's where your modem will sit, and as long as your Wi-Fi is all right, hopefully you shouldn't have to go into that panel too much. But stepping out back into here, we'll head back towards the master bedroom. And one thing I did kind of jump through or pass was this is the brown wire. This is where your thermostat's going to sit. So it'll be mounted right here because this wire goes up through the attic and then back over into that AC closet. Then right here, we have another coat closet as well to my right. So plenty of closet space or closet access in the home. So walking back towards the front here, we step into the master bedroom. So right off here, off the left-hand side, you've got the dual switches here. So again, that first switch will control your switched outlets, which in the masters on this wall over here, this is where they assume you're putting your bed. So typically in most of these other rooms, the switch controls one outlet, but it'll control both outlets. So this side and this side, you know, the his and hers outlet, so that, you know, this will control if you have any lights or anything like that attached to it. And then the second switch over here will control the fan box. And then the one difference with the masters versus your standard rooms is that you get two air supplies on here. So you got one over here, and then you have your air return right up here. And then once again, same thing, you get outlets all along the walls. And then that right here is your low voltage. And then you had the high, low outlets on your entertainment wall as well. General oversight there. So stepping into the master closet, the switch for that will be right here on the outside. So you'll step in here. One feature that we've just included because it was you know, an issue they had with an option in the past, so now everybody gets it, but you get an outlet right above the door here, so you can put a night light or some, you know, kind of air freshener, whatever you'd like to do. You at least get an outlet in here. We do provide an air supply in the closet as well, so that's nice. Your clothes don't, you know, sit in any kind of mustiness. And then, you know, depending on the model, they arrange the shelving differently, but you'll basically have the shelving all up and down through here. So nice, big, good sized closet. Stepping into the master bath. So right here on the right hand side, you'll have the switches. So again, this one will control the vanity light, one will control the light above the shower, and then one will control the exhaust fan. So right here directly to my left, you've got a nice little linen closet. And then this is where your dual vanity will be. So you got the left hand side, right hand side water supply. This is the wire set up ready to go for the outlets. So in the backsplash here, they'll cut open the little box and then have the outlet sitting in there. Then you get a GFI outlet on the left-hand side there. And then once again, that vanity lighting, they have it wired up ready to go so that, you know, when we put drywall up and then it's time to do our trim out, they can get the accurate spot for that halfway point or you know, point where it's directly over the sink. Shower here, you'll have the temperature control on that side, and then the shower head on that side. Then you get the light up above, right? And then right over here to the right, this is your water closet. So switch will be right here. So you have the light and then the fan switch. So all these rooms, again, the water closet, you get an air supply, light, and then exhaust fan. And then that is your water supply down there. So that pretty much covers everything on the inside of the home. I'll work my way around. So I'll come out to the front porch and then I'll kind of swing around, go over some of the utilities, and then I'll kind of end this at the garage. But stepping out onto your lanai, first thing you notice is these hoses, flex duct hanging out over here. So all these, the exhaust vents, they have them venting to the outside of the home. So when they come and get the soffits completed, they'll basically cut those back and then they'll have like a cover on that and it'll sit nice and flush with the soffit. So again, it'll, you know, at closing time, you won't even be able to notice it. Right over here, you'll have a nice coach light on this wall. And then you get an outlet down here. And then up in your ceiling, you opted for the recessed lighting. So you got one there and then one down there. And then you have the ceiling fan box ready to go. All right. And then stepping off the porch here, right to my right, you have your hose spigot. So this is one attachment point. You'll have another one up on the top corner of the house. And then in the yard, you'll notice they have these black corrugated pipes on this side and then down the way as well. That's for the drainage. So when it comes time, they'll cut that down. They'll put a cover on top of it. And then when they grade the home, that'll be like the low point. So they'll have everything going to that. And then they'll have kind of like a low point in the dead center where that'll kind of everything will shift to. But then you have another corrugated pipe for drainage here as well. And then moving around the side here, we have the coach lights on the side. So you get one on this side, one on this side of the door. That's what that front entryway will look like. And then stepping around over here, this white tube that's popped up out the ground, this is for plumbing. So what'll happen is they'll cut it down to grade, and then it's an access point for the plumbers, so that if they need to unclog anything, they don't have to cut behind drywall. They're able to run their snake from this point and then hit the blockage inside the home. On the left hand side here, this is set up by our pest control company, Home Team, and I'll point it out when I go into the garage, but this is their system. They run, it's called a TX line, but this is the outside point that they can access. So what they'll do is they have a line that runs basically through the home, and from here they can hook up to here and then spray it, and then it distributes itself through that line. And because the line is inside of the stud bays, it stays inside the wall. You don't have to have somebody come and actually like spray on the baseboards. It's all contained. So they have their phone number here, QR code. You can register with them. The nice thing with their service, they also do the termite treatments as well. So they have those termite bait stations in the ground. And I highly recommend keeping up with that service. And they even, for the spraying purposes, they give you like a year free when you first sign up, and then they do it like a quarterly sprays. And then if you have any further bug issues, they'll come out and do any additional work that's needed. So definitely a good system and a good company to work with. A lot of people continue to use them even after they move in. Right over here, this is where your hot water heater is going to go. So they give you outlet on the left here, white wire for the power, and then that's your water hookup, and then the gas hookup right there. Right to the right, this is where the gas meter will go. So this is just what it looks like for test purposes. And then they will, when they come to actually hook up the meter, probably go on the right hand side here, but that's where they'll connect it to when they come and dig their underground. Right over here, this is where your AC unit will sit. So that's the copper line. They'll basically pour like a 4x4 pad here and then set the unit out here when they do their trim out. This is the power hookup for that, and then they give you an outlet out here as well. Right over here, this is the hookup for the photo cell light. So basically they have a little box out here that's mounted where on the corner of everybody's home you get a coach light, and that light is basically controlled by the sun. So when the sun goes down, the lights in the little quadrant start to come on. So it's a cool little feature so that you're not sitting out here in the dark. This is your second hose bib right over here. And then this blue line is, they just have it out the ground right now, but that's your actual like main water intake, and they have the white pipe basically just dictating where it is in the ground that they'll actually hook up to. So when it comes time to actually connect the water, they just basically pop it in, because on the other side of this wall right here, that's where they have your main water shut off. So it's going down through the slab, and this is that connection point on the other side. But you'll be able to access this when you actually move in. Just turn it on and off. It'll have a little trim out box around it, but and there's certain things too I'll go over later as we do our final like walkthrough. More points about just more relevant to when you're closing here. Right here to the right, this is that copper line coming through here. So I recommend for people, if you are going to do some kind of like mounting system for storage purposes, you stick to that wall over there, because as you can see, there's really nothing over there besides a singular wall outlet. Over here we have all your mechanicals. So it's just a little bit of a safer wall to screw into, and the studs where you're less likely to hit anything. Here is the rebar that the electric panel is ground to. So the green wire that comes down out of the panel comes over here. And then just for code purposes, that's the access panel that you can see that wire is grounded to. And that rebar goes down into the footer. You get an outlet right there. This is your control or electric panel here. And then right here to the right of that, that's that Smurf tube that goes up into your low voltage cabinet there. And there's basically a box there
that they can access. It'll have a little cover on it, but they'll be able to take it off. That gray conduit is what runs down through the slab outside, and I'll kind of put that out in just a sec. And that's where the internet companies, Spectrum or Hargray, whoever you choose, will be able to access it, so they can run their wire up through here, because they'll run it outside through the conduit. It'll come up here, and then they'll snake it through this orange tube into your low voltage cabinet. So same thing with your actual electric too. This conduit that runs up into your electric panel runs underneath the slab out on the other side. So I'll point that out in just a sec. This is where that gas enters the home. So this is a hard pipe, and they have this running up through the top plate, and then it runs out and then disperses through the home depending on the locations. And then this is all the water lines for your water heater. This is just what it looks like for the test purposes, but this is where the sink will go. And then you have an outlet over here. And then last big thing with the garage is that for your garage door system, this blue wire right here, this is where they'll have the button that you can press that manually open and closes the garage door. We'll also give you 2 clickers at closing as well for your car or anything like that. So that same blue wire that runs up through there, this is the merging point right here. So this is where the actual unit will be mounted. So that blue wires goes into the back of the unit. That secondary box right there, that's where it'll actually plug into. Well, I got you up in the trusses here. This is your attic access point. So this has been framed out. This will basically be covered with a piece of drywall and have a trim going around it. But this will be, if anybody needed access for the mechanicals or needed to do any repairs up in the attic, this is where they can get through. There's 2 boxes up there. So one of them is an outlet, one of them is a switch, and it controls that light right there. It'll have a bulb, but that's just, so they'll be able to see. And then last bit with the garage in the front corner here, the same blue wire down here. This is where those little laser lights sit. So on the rail, they'll basically sit here. There's one here and one on that side over there. And basically, if anything crosses the path or crosses the lasers, it'll stop the garage door from coming down, and it'll force it back up. Another thing I like to point out in the garage, just so you can see it best, these ties right here, this is basically our system that we use that gets us the wind rating, the hurricane resistance. So the way it works is we have these anchor bolts that are put in over here. So they drill it in, they drill it out, they pop those in, and then it gets tightened to this bottom plate, and it's got the big washer right there that tightens it down. And then with the quick ties right here, and when I have my set of plans, all the quick ties, they have different thicknesses, and it'll list out where they're supposed to be located, how thick the quick tie is supposed to be based on whatever the engineer recommends. But they have them ground down into the footer. They have them epoxied, and then this runs up and then through the top plate, and it's got a big washer like this that sits on there that they tighten them down, and they're kind of banjo string tight right now, but that's what holds down the top plate and then connects the top plate to the bottom plate. And then up here on the trusses, you can see all the hurricane ties and strapping that we use. And that basically goes into the top plate and then goes into the trusses. So basically it's connecting everything from the truss down into the footer, and it's all like one tied in complete system. So that's what gives the home its strength and wind resistance. So kind of a neat little factor there. And so that's everything inside the home. And the last thing, and that's where your photocell carriage light will sit. So the last thing I'll just go ahead and show you right quick is the where the electric meter panel will sit. So right here, this is what will be out there. They still have to install this one, but they'll get it hardy boarded, and it'll look and be painted the same color as your neighbors right here. But this is where it goes. So this is where those conduits sit for all your low voltage and then your electric. So they'll basically put it in concrete, set it up here, and then the meter panel will sit on that platform right there, because you're not allowed to have somebody else's meter on somebody else's home. So instead, we've had to basically build a separate structure, and then it'll be a can with both of your meters, yours and your neighbors, on there. So that will probably be getting done next week. And then we also just schedule-wise have, they just finished doing their hardy this past week, so we're hoping to get that done pretty soon. Hopefully next week they can get to it. But that's where we're at right now. I'm still preparing the home for my mechanical inspections. I have a few things I need to go over and check over, and then I'll get that submitted to the city. And then as soon as we pass that, we can get into insulation. But the mechanical rough-in inspection is my biggest inspection, and it's probably one of my more difficult ones to get past, just because it's basically 5 inspections in one. So it's a lot to look at and cover. So but that's that's a job. So that's what I'll be doing. Next week is getting the home ready for inspection. The city is closed anyway, so I have some time to get that done and then be ready to go when we can. So that's all I have for you for your video. And of course, I know you can't ask questions, obviously, while I'm filming this. So if you think of anything, feel free to call me, text me, whatever you want to do to communicate. And if you have any further questions about anything you might have seen here, or just needing more information on a measurement or something like that, don't be afraid to ask. So that's all I have. Thank you. Have a good evening, and happy New Year's.